So after all the cutscenes, this is where you start off, and immediately I would go and get this item because you don't want to miss it. This allows you to write messages. So I always put this on, and I'll throw it right there. And so now I can write different messages. This is, pretty limited on what you do, but you can write different messages, and then people can upvote them or downvote them as you want. If you get upvoted, I believe it restores your health. Might even restore flash, depending on the areas. But I'm going to go all the way through, and I'm going to show you the very first boss that you actually will face in here, which is kind of like a story boss. And I want you to understand that you're not really meant to beat this boss. You can, and you do get some items out of it, but we're just going to go into this boss and we're just going to have ourselves die. Alright, so after all the cutscenes, now we're here in the starting actual area after the kind of, welcome to Elden Ring boss. Now, this right off the bat gives you the Flask of Crimson Tears and the Flask of Cerulean Tears. When you're very first starting off in this spot, come over here, talk to this ghost. It says, Brave Tarnished, take the plunge of learning and remembrance. Recall the arts of war and your warrior's blood. What he means is, he wants you to come down here. And this is the tutorial of what you're going to get in Elden Ring. There'll be some little tidbits here and there that you'll also learn about, but this is pretty much all the hand-holding you're going to get. Tells you about sites of grace, tells you about attacking and all those different things. The other thing I want to mention is every time you see these sites of grace, touch them. You don't have to actually rest at them to respawn the enemies if you don't want to, but at least touch all of these sites of grace. So while you're down here, just keep going along, and you'll complete the dungeon in this little tutorial section and kind of get the basics of how to play the game. One other thing I want to point out here is these are called Stakes of Marika. Usually these are right before bosses, which is right there actually. This is the beginning dungeon here. And if you die, you have the option of respawning here instead of at that site of grace that's way back there. So these are something to keep an eye on as well. Now your reward for actually completing that little beginner dungeon is right here on the cliff. And it's a new emote, the strength emote. Right here. Strength. Whether you've decided to do the little beginner tutorial dungeon down here or not, once you are done, you come up here, you open the doors with the interaction there, and then there's going to be an elevator here. Right up here after all this. So always activate the Sites of Grace. If you chose the Gargoyle key, the Stonesward key here is where you can use the first one if you want, and there are some actual decent items down there, and there's a really high level boss that you can fight. Don't forget to get this, Finger Sever, and your Tarnished Furled Finger. This allows you to do co-op multiplayer. And here's the elevator. Step on the switch and just ride on up. Head on up here. Open the door. And you are in the open world now. This is the starting area, Limgrave. Gather items if you want. This is Stake America, which means there's a boss nearby. It's actually that guy right there. If you really want a challenge, go ahead and try to fight him, but I suggest if you're brand new, stay away from him. Gather this item here, small golden effigy. This kind of works the same way as a summoning tool for a dungeon. This works the same way as the Tarnished Furled Finger, but this only works for that particular spot in that area that you're at. Whereas this, for all the co-op sign or summoning pools that you have opened, which is this, it'll put your summon sign right in front of all of them. Go ahead and hit this touch of grace here. And you can talk to this guy. I'm not going to put that in the video just for spoilers. So we'll go ahead and show you what's next after I get done talking with this guy. So, as you're starting out your new adventure in Elden Ring, after you've done all the tutorial stuff, you have this big giant guy on a horse who's a boss. And maybe you're not ready to fight him, maybe you don't want to fight him, maybe you're a little timid. That's fine. You don't have to fight him. Also, if you can, just start killing some of the wildlife if you want. They're going to drop materials that you can use for crafting. So you can just crouch, kind of hide away from his vision. And as long as you're not really attracting him, you can just get right by him. So we'll just run away. And now we're at the next site of grace that you can acquire very early. Now you have fast travel unlocked as well. So this is the Church of Ella and the first step. I would advise getting this here. This allows you to strengthen armaments on your own if you want, as long as you have the appropriate materials. This requires smithing stones. I don't have enough yet because this is a brand new character just starting off. Then you also have a merchant here. He's going to sell stuff. He also has things to talk about. You can ask about all that stuff. His recommendation, I'll give you a little spoiler on that one. He advised you to buy the crafting kit. So go ahead and buy the crafting kit if you have the souls right away. Now this allows you to go into item crafting, and this is the initial starting items that you can craft. Now in order to craft more items,
what is it?
You're going to have to buy these items, the cookbooks. And all the merchants have different ones that they sell, and you buy them. You can, look at what it allows. Like this one teaches you how to make the bone arrows and bone bolts. This one is glowstone and different meats. This one is water pots. So I would advise also getting these items as well as the 3 cracked pots that he sells. You can buy the telescope if you want. You can buy these. These are nice little hints as well. Once you buy them, you find out. And then this is just an armor set that he sells, a shield. I would get the torch if you want to be able to light up some areas while you're exploring as well. And if you're somebody that has a bow, does sell the arrows, or a crossbow, he's got the bolts as well.
Goodbye.
With that being done though, I'm going to show you 3 different points that I want you to start off to kind of better enhance your starting gameplay and teach you a little more about the mechanics. So first and foremost, as you're looking at this map, you're going, wow, there's not really a whole lot on there. Well, that's because we don't actually have the map section unlocked yet. This little icon right here means that there's a section of map that we can get. So I'm going to go ahead and place a marker right there. Now you can see on the compass it's showing there, and as you get closer to the item where your marker is, it'll be there. You'll see it. So we're going to go all the way up there and get this map fragment. And I'm going to go ahead and speed the video up. So now that we're here at this actual base camp for all these enemies, what you want to do is kind of get to that point that you've marked. You can kill the enemies that are coming at you if you want, which I do with this one, or you can just kind of make a mad dash all the way through. And it's pretty easy as you just watch what I'm doing here with the path. You're just going to go all the way up to this pillar here, and you got the map fragment right there. It's a Limgrave West map. And then you just got to run kind of backwards or wherever, just kind of get out of the range of where these people are, and eventually you'll kind of de-aggro them, and then you'll be nice and safe. So now that you got the map fragment, I also want you to get the Site of Grace that is right over here by this camp. Now this Site of Grace is actually really important because you have to rest at this grace in order to have the maiden approach you. When she approaches you the very first time, she's actually going to give you the item that you can use to summon the mount, which greatly increases your your travel speed over land. So after you go through all the cutscenes, you're going to actually be given the ring that allows you to summon Torrent, your faithful steed that lets you travel around on mount when you're out in the overworld. So what I do is I take it and I put it in that pouch with the kind of quick select items if you're, familiar with the controls. And I take that memory of grace away, that's the death warp, and I put the spectral steed whistle there. I don't have any need for the death warp. I haven't seen a use for it yet. It's more for like speed running. But if you're brand new starting out, just go ahead and put it there. So now you can run around and, have all the freedom of running around on a horse. It's really great. The other nice, interesting thing is once you do interact with the maiden, at any Site of Grace, you can start interacting with them, and you have the option to level up. And as long as you have enough runes, you can start putting points into your different stats. As this is a new character and I haven't really done anything with him, I didn't have enough yet. But that's okay. As you play the game, you will get enough eventually. Early beginning dungeon that I want to show you is right here, Groveside Cave. This is also a fairly easy dungeon to do, but the boss can be a little tricky, especially if you're not used to these kinds of games. But from the church, you're basically just going to go all the way over here. And it's right here. So once you get into that section, you can't ride your horse any further. But you can activate the Touch of Grace here. And go ahead and activate these when you see them in the dungeon. This is allowing the summoning pool so you can summon other people or be summoned. The other cool thing is once you're activated those graces, you can teleport to them. As you want. Now that you're in, though, you are going to have to rest at the grace and see that you still can't teleport. But if you leave the dungeon, now you can teleport to where you want to. You also can't open the map and teleport if like you're in combat. Let's get this guy's attention real quick here. So you can't open the map because you're in combat now. Now we're out of combat. Now you can teleport to where you need to go. It's just a beginner little guide, tips, and show you a couple quick early dungeons that you can do. If you have any questions or concerns, or if you just want a more detailed depth on like the dungeons themselves, go ahead and leave a comment, subscribe, smash that like button if you want even. Smash the dislike button if you didn't like it. My name is Gizmo Mogwai with Gizmo Mogwai Gaming. You can go ahead and see me on YouTube here. I do a lot of Final Fantasy XIV content, and this is actually the first non-Final Fantasy XIV piece of content I've been putting out. You can also follow me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/gizmomagoid1027. And with that, enjoy your fun adventure time here in Elden Ring. Bye, guys.